delayed gratification. It teaches you how to wait for things that think you need in that moment, but you probably don't need.
Had to go through the journey of feeling like you didn't have money, build your resume, fill out applications, do an interview, land the job, work the job, get your first paycheck, and now you feel like you have a win. That whole process builds appreciation for the journey.
Notice that a lot of the traps in life always have this patina or this fine print that says it can get done quickly. That is a trap. That is a lie.
And then I immediately thought, like, how did my mom at 18, 19 years old do this for 3 boys? And then I immediately thought, like, how did my mom at 18, 19 years old do this for 3 boys? Because we flew to Dominican Republic every summer, which, by the way, I have no idea how she ever found the money for us to even have that luxury. But then it made me reflect, like, damn, things were hard, but my mom always figured it out. She always found a way. I think if you're somebody who's young, like, don't be so critical on your parents. Even though you can't get the latest Jordans or you can't get the latest clothing or video game or console, whatever it is that you want, just understand that in this present moment, they're probably doing the best that they can and things will get better.
You know, that made me think when you said you can't get everything you want. And obviously, it's not Jordans and video games now. I feel like shit, you would know better than I would. It's a whole different world out there in terms of what kids want. Just because they can see more luxury, they can see more things that are beyond. Fuck a poor family's income. A two-parent household that's making good money's income. I feel like a lot of these kids want a Miri jeans. They want a Rolex. They want jewelry that, what 15-year-old needs this fucking jewelry? What 15-year-old needs any of this? I feel like it's gotten even crazier. And the people that do sell luxury have figured out how to get it to a point where these young kids want things that they have no business needing. But it's created this false reality. And you said it, Rich, in appreciation for your mom. I think subconsciously, and this could be our number 9, and then we could wrap at 10 if you have one more. Our number 9 is delayed gratification. It teaches you how to wait for things that you think you need in that moment, but you probably don't need. And by the time you get it, you have either a very deep appreciation for this thing you worked very hard for, or you realize you don't even need it. And it gives you this knowledge of, like, not all luxuries are luxuries that I need. Delayed gratification is something that happens naturally in a family that doesn't have a lot of resources, especially if you got a lot of brothers and sisters and cousins, because how crazy does the one parent or the grandparent that's raising you look if they give you one thing that they can't give the other 9 kids? I think delayed gratification is huge because as an adult, you're going to need that. If you're going to start your own business, you got to understand, you got to put money up front. You got to put your own time and energy into it. And chances are, Rich, we're experiencing this right now with failures. We're probably not going to see any return on our investment until 3 or 4 years into the investment. But if you don't know delayed gratification, you're going to quit early. Like that to me is a very important skill to have for your entire life.
I think number 10 also ties into that one, which I would say is appreciation. Even though you feel poor, you feel like you have a lack of resources, but you do stumble upon a little bit of a win or some success. You learn sort of how to appreciate that climb, that journey that it takes to reach wherever it is that you want to reach. So, for example, if you're someone who's 16, 17, 18, you feel like your family doesn't have a lot of money, but you do get a part-time job or you do get a job, period, and you get that first check, bro, that first check is a win. It's like, oh, wait a minute, like we're up. Like I could buy myself something, I could give my mom a little bit of money. That win sort of makes you appreciate all the steps that it took to even get the job. But you sort of like had to go through the journey of feeling like you didn't have money, build your resume, fill out applications, do an interview, land the job, work the job, get your first paycheck, and now you feel like you have a win. That right there, that whole process builds appreciation for the journey. And I think that's extremely important.
Well, we could wrap it at 10, Rich. One thing that's totally unplanned, but I'm curious because you're so good with your money and you're somebody that I've always admired how you've been able to escape a lot of the traps that were laid out in your life and you've become the man you've become today. I just want to leave anyone who's listened to this episode and has accepted this reframe because I feel like we've given a lot of tangible and real life tools that will work from whether you're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way to your 40. The things that we mentioned on the show, they're very applicable now as someone in their late 30s. So I feel good about the 10 things that we brought up on this episode. Something that's probably a little bit more zoomed in, Rich, and it's not financial advice, but it is something that you want to share with a young man who is in this situation that wants to start figuring out his nest egg. What are some things that he should do now to get out of this situation because it is his reality?
I immediately default, if I could go 25 years back, I immediately default to doubling down on myself and learning a skill.
I was gonna say the same exact thing. I want to make this clear. If me and you thought the same thing, write this one down. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I think there's no bigger advantage, no bigger investment to invest in yourself. I know that's kind of hard to believe because you're like, yo, I have $1,000. How am I going to invest this entire thousand to like a course? I feel like when you do make that investment, to your point earlier, delayed gratification. Invest in yourself. Learn that new skill. Learn how to edit audio. Learn how to video edit. Learn, whatever it is you want to learn. Learn how to code. Invest in yourself, have delayed gratification, and I promise you, 2 to 3 or however long it takes, you're going to see that investment pay off. But you have to sort of invest in yourself first.
100%. Getting a skill is one, two, and three. I don't even think there should be any more advice for anyone. We could go into a whole other episode where we can unpack that. But the reason why you want a skill, just to double down on what Rich is saying, is it makes you useful. And as much as young men in our community that only want to talk about making more money quickly, getting fit quickly, getting the girl very quickly, shortcutting everything, building a brand very quickly, put out a hit record. I needed to go viral now. My boy is doing day trading. My other boy just put his started his TikTok. Notice that a lot of the traps in life always have this patina or this fine print that says it can get done quickly. That is a trap. That is a lie. It can happen, but it's almost like a lottery. You can't control if it happens. But the barbell strategy for wanting something quickly is developing a skill that's useful. And that's why it came to mind for Rich and I, because if I wasn't a good communicator and someone that understood art and how to communicate it in a corporate setting, I wouldn't have a skill to offer as an intern at Def Jam, as a assistant at Complex Media, or build our platform that we built when we were younger that we were able to leverage into different situations. It was those very small skills that got us other opportunities. Think and believe you deserve more, but no one gives a fuck until you're actually useful. So you become useful to the greater tribe by developing a skill and honing that and mastering that skill. And it only got to be one skill. If you come from the bottom, everything is up. So one setback doesn't necessarily throw you off when you're in your mid 20s, late 20s, and you're pursuing something that is bigger than anything you've ever known, anybody you know has ever accomplished. I could definitely relate to that, Rich. There's something about whenever I stumble, and I've stumbled a lot in my life, I just really think about where I started at, and it puts everything in perspective. I don't feel like a victim. I feel like somebody that's very privileged to even be in the situation that I'm in. It naturally puts this very positive perspective on what I'm going through, even when I'm going through hell. I don't know if you can relate to that, but I always find myself feeling grateful in the most fucked up situations.
Yeah, I agree. And if you think about it, how many times have you seen the story of the privileged person envious of the sort of poorer person who had to climb the ladder and start from zero and get it out the mud? It's like, man, that person has gone through a journey that I will never understand. And we're sort of at the same level. I didn't have to work for anything, and this person has worked for everything. I think that that dynamic exists more often than we like to think, even in like basketball, right, or in the rap world, or any sort of like high pinnacle arena where you have these two individuals that have both reached the same amount of success, except one person is the junior of like Michael Jordan or whoever, and the other person had to struggle their entire way to get into the NBA or to reach that high level of success. And the person who's privileged is like envious of the person who's gone through the struggle. And it's sort of that envy of, man, you have the resiliency. You've built
Mm-hmm.
this strong exterior because of the journey that you've been through. I can never relate to that, but I want that. Like how many rich white kids do you see trying to pretend that they're hood? You know what I mean? Like they glorify this thing.
They want to be connected to something real. They want to be connected to something that feels like a struggle, even though they don't want to struggle.
Yes, exactly.
I wanted to say this, Rich, because there is a story that I had about an artist that I was working with, and I had to fly to Colorado to be with them. And I had a personal situation that I had to take care of the next day. So I flew to Colorado for work. And I won't say the artist name because I never feel comfortable mentioning my artist on this platform, but it was an incredible opportunity. We got a chance to meet Deion Sanders, who was coaching the Colorado football team at the time. We got a chance to meet Deion Sanders' son, Travis Hunter, who was the number one draft pick in the NFL this year. It was a unique opportunity for me because I love sports. I enjoy watching sports, and professionally, I work with musicians. I do marketing for them. I was annoyed that I had to travel to Colorado in the middle of like a personal event that I had the next day because it was really like an in and out thing. I was able to arrange a flight situation, and I was gonna fly first class back home on a flight that was like shorter time than I would have if I was taking a regular flight. The reason why I'm saying this story is because the flight got delayed and then the flight got canceled, and I had to miss my personal event. And I was really annoyed, bro. I was at the airport just hot because I was missing a personal thing and I couldn't fly first class home. And then it hit me, bro. Who the fuck do I think I am? I just got an opportunity to hang out with one of the coolest and most hottest artists in the world, meet athlete that I fucking loved as a kid, Deion Sanders. I got to be around his family. I got full access backstage. And I was complaining about not being able to fly first class home. And then it hit me, Rich. Like, where's my gratitude? Where's the humbleness that I had when I was younger? This is privilege that I have. And it immediately took away that, I don't know, ñoñeria. Like I had this like feeling that I deserved all these things, but I didn't. And I don't. And I was able to realign my thoughts and be like, you know what, bro? I'm not a victim. This is some shit that only people that don't have the perspective that I should have would be mad about. So little things like that just kind of give me the perspective that I need. And I know that comes from growing up humble, in humble beginnings with not having a lot. And it just realigns my thought half of the time. So that's a real life example of me reframing a situation where most people in my business bitch and complain about how they're not getting all these things they expect from the world.
But I think that brings us to our next point, which I think is just gratitude. Like that to me is a cheat code, and I often do that where I'll get mad at something that is clearly minute in detail, but oh my god, my dry cleaning is not going to be ready in time. You know what I mean? Like little things like that, and then I have to take a pause for a second and just say, bro, like what a privilege to have nice clothes that have getting dry cleaned in the first place. Like what am I worried about? I have other outfits in my closet that I could wear. So I love that because it's sort of like a reframing, and at the end of the day it's gratitude. Like you're grateful for what you have, and you're reminding yourself of where you came from.